Happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome back to your Morning Boost. We're back at it again with our guests, Dr. Chad Lang and Dr. Matt Townsley, as we are talking about grading reform and just doing a better job of providing accurate communication and a great glimpse into what our students are doing every day at schools. Thank you, gentlemen, for being back again today. I'm excited to see what question number 2 is going to bring to us for learning. Boosters, if you got a chance and haven't done so already, take a look at Dr. Townsley and Dr. Lang's work. We've got their information in our show notes here for you to be able to check out all of the great stuff they got going on. I guarantee you it's going to be worth your time. Well, gentlemen, before we get to question number 2, do need to take a quick commercial break, but get your thinking hats on because we're going to come right back and dive right into another question on grading practices. We'll be right back after this. All right, gentlemen, here is question number 2 to kick us off for Tuesday today. The question is, I've heard you guys do this a lot, you highlight the mathematical flaws of traditional grading. So what's the most damaging way that averaging dilutes a student's final grade? And then there's a two-parter here. So then also, what's the clearest alternative to implement immediately?
Well, probably my best answer to that would be a 2-prong, double DZ, which would be utilizing the 0 in a 100-point scale. It just has a 6 times more disproportionate impact when you average than getting a 100%. You'd have to get, multiple A's to negate the one poor performance. And the problem with the 0 is that it doesn't even typically demonstrate a poor performance. It demonstrates didn't submit, didn't participate. And that's not what the learning standards are assessing. We have a responsibility to assess the learning standards, the expectations of learning. And so I can fully agree that if a student opted out of a project or just didn't participate at all, that we have a serious behavioral problem on our hands, and we've got to work on that aspect of it. And that's actually separate from purporting a grade and then averaging it in with some other performance. It actually doesn't tell us about either performance. A 0 doesn't really tell us what they can know or do. And when averaged with an A 75% or a 50% in that particular case, it was 100%, also doesn't tell us about their ability. So on both ends of the spectrum, we're producing a metric that doesn't tell us anything about the learner. And that's not helpful to them, nor is it to us. And, utilizing a system of grading as at the very least equal intervals, in which 0 might be one of them, is a different matter. But averaging in and of itself punishes someone for their growth and learning within a standard or a unit. And that's not something that we want to do. And that's not really how the real world works. Matt and I are big fans of Dr. Tom Guskey. And my favorite analogy that he uses is, when everybody starts out at a white belt in karate or taekwondo and they earn their way to a black belt, we don't give them a gray belt. They're a black belt. And what they could once not do and they can do now is actually quite irrelevant. And we believe that learning is the same regardless. So the easy tip I would have, just as a starting micro approach, is just replace the 0 or the incomplete with a missing evidence indicator or a non-numerical data piece that would indicate we don't have this and this is a red flag. We got to figure something out. But it's not calculating in towards an average as a disproportionate impact on really what it is that they can know or do.
We get caught in that, I don't have anything to hold over the student and make them do the work. And really, that is the part we should do, is make them do the work, make them show our evidence of learning. That's what we need in the first place. And we might have to be a little patient and keep working at it to get there. But that's a good point. Dr. Townsley, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think just adjacent to what Chad said there, what often comes along with the idea of averaging is what Sue Brookhart in 1991 called Hodge Podge grading. It's just taking a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this, points for effort, points for participation, points for how well you know it, and putting it all together. And then, as Chad was alluding to, averaging it. And so there's this thought of is that we just put a bunch of stuff together, and then our student information system or electronic gradebook is going to crank out something to some certain level of precision that we're all going to know and get excited about. 93.7 is better than 93.6, but no one can really describe the difference other than one's better than the other. And so there's just this allure of understanding what it's all about. There's this allure of really being familiar with what it's all about, but it's just a bunch of data points that gets crunched together over time, and they really don't mean a whole lot. And that's why, Sue Brookhart called it Hodge Podge grading. And so, as Chad was alluding to there, what can we do differently? Let's disaggregate all of that stuff, right? Like, all right, how much has Johnny in algebra class learned about one-step equations? Let's let him know, and his students and his parents know how much they know about one-step equations. And then separately, let's let him and his parents know how much he knows about two-step equations. Let's let him know how much he knows about or doesn't know about, Pythagorean's theorem. And as Chad was alluding to, that's where we can get to the equal intervals. A lot of schools are using like, beginning, developing, proficient, or something along those lines as descriptors, maybe attaching a 1, 2, and a 3 and a 4 to them. And that's, again, what is kind of the antidote, if you will, or the opposite of percentage-based grading, is really being clear in this disaggregated manner. What are we communicating, and how can we do it in a way that is not just, this allure of 0.5% being, something we get excited about when our student's grade goes up.
You guys mentioned that yesterday too about communication. And that's really, at the end of the day, what we're trying to do here, right? That grade is a portion of the communication that we give to families and we give to students on their progress towards what we've identified as those standards that they must meet to be able to show proficiency. So that's awesome. All right. So Monday, we talked about some of those misconceptions. Today, talking about that averaging piece, how that dilutes, and an alternative to doing that stuff. Guys, this is great. It's a good start. All right, educators, stay tuned. We're going to have more this week, so we'll be back again for another episode on Wednesday as we bring Dr. Lang and Dr. Townsley back here to talk more on grading. Again, if you haven't done so already, please give us a like, a rating, or a review on your favorite podcast network or on YouTube. It certainly helps us keep this show going. If you got an opportunity to do that, we would certainly appreciate it. Other than that, we'll see you again tomorrow. Gentlemen, we'll see you guys tomorrow too. Thanks for listening. We will talk with you again tomorrow.
That concludes another episode of Your Morning Boost. We hope today's daily dose of professional development helps you amplify knowledge, widen reach, and broaden impact. Your Morning Boost is an AWB education production brought to you with the generous support of Grundmeyer Leader Services. Join us again tomorrow for more. Until then, keep boosting your impact.